Welcome back. We are here going to be discussing the UI prototype challenge
We're here with Ad Rock.
with Ad Rock.
Oh, great.
We don't have that magic transition effect to get this guy into him.
Wait, hold on.
He's a real boy.
Wait. Poof. Yep, there he is.
It worked.
Do I need to have that back here?
I mean, you can if you want to hold yourself.
I mean, who else, right? Who else has a top-coated towel?
Welcome, Ad
I
Rock.
don't even want to get into why that was
Yeah,
created.
right?
Now we need to have this one have a little hat too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Hat
I
to
need
match.
We need a cowboy hat, right? Okay.
Welcome back, man.
I'll take care.
Yeah.
So not only is Ad Rock leading the UI design track and that competition, he's also got the UI prototype track to look after. Welcome back. Can you explain for those that may be joining, not knowing what UI prototype is?
Okay. So UI prototype is our development track that is focused on really executing front-end development. So technologies, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Angular, React, really getting into that front-end development piece and really executing really well on it. So this has been a track that we created back in 2006, and it's focused on designers and developers who are really good at executing front-end code. So we really want pixel precision, perfection around a designer's vision being executed in code. So we don't have that issue where a designer and a design team has spent all this time creating an awesome design and then handing it off to the development team. And then the development team comes back and the designers are like, what's this? And the developer's like, well, it works, right? So we actually have the UI prototype track that takes care of that issue.
You would think that there would be no middle step. You would think it's design. You think it's code, but it takes a special person to kind of understand both sides of it.
Exactly. And I think it takes someone who really understands the creative side of it and also the technical side of it. And some of us want to know that, and some of us don't want to know that, right? So.
And have you run any UI prototype challenges?
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that actually wants to know that.
Oh.
So he
No.
actually cares about the
No,
front
not at
design
all.
and the development side of it.
No. And more and more now with React and Angular, we're doing prototypes directly into structure for those projects as well. But so I think we're actually trying to get them to kind of expand their horizon a little bit. But
Exactly.
it's really important for a developer to be able to know the ins and outs of browsers versus CSS. That's the fight, so that things lay out well. And a coder that's doing development of the front end, wiring things up to data, then back end development, they don't really want to nitpick pixel layout on different formats. So these guys are really specialists in that, and create better content for people doing the front end development.
Right. Exactly. So it's that challenge that helps connect the front end, the back end.
Right.
But it's also so as James mentioned, we're actually in the process of really merging more of the UI prototype into the development process because of things like Angular and React, right?
Okay.
The technology's changing, right? It's a lot easier to really use the different frameworks and technologies as years ago. It was much more, what's the issue with IE6, right? What's the issue with this browser, right?
Yeah,
and now we have these libraries and we have these different JavaScript frameworks that are pretty powerful, right? So we're at Top Coder, we're in the process of actually kind of getting all the UI prototypers to reskill or upskill into
Kind of expanding the track.
expanding
too.
the track
Yeah.
into the newer frameworks.
They would be doing essentially the same kind of work, but they would have to understand more the framework that they're building into, just so that they know where to put things and or how to mock things up. Because right now you just make HTML, you put some text in it, you put the CSS against it, you have it for the web page. But doing Angular, you need to know that you need to put it in where the views are, or whatever,
Right.
So that's how it'll change a little bit, but it's really just knowing where the destination is. The baseline is pretty
Yep.
similar.
So we're evolving with the technology also.
That's awesome. So I know you've been known to call it the unicorn track as well, because
Yeah, I have,
it's a little difficult to find that special person.
Yeah.
I have a slide with a unicorn.
Oh, really? Let's actually take a look at these unicorns itself. Who do we have here? Ad Rock. Do you know some of these members?
Oh yeah,
Their
so
stories?
Mooley G is our returning champion. So he's actually 2-time champion. So he's back here this year. He always a very strong HTML, CSS developer, and he's done a great job expanding into Angular and React. So I definitely love seeing the different developers at Topcoder grow into the things that that our customers are coming to us with. We also have Christian 77 from Columbia,
Yeah.
right? So he is a new competitor in the finalists, right? First time finalist, but he's definitely shown that he has the chops, has the knowledge around executing the quality that we need around the UI front end development. Hi for Sandy. So he's a longtime competitor, and he is definitely one of our more vocal members, which is great because he's definitely great at making us make sure that we are updating our scorecards, updating how we do things, really focused in on pushing if we are doing Angular and React, we're doing it the right way, and so members like him keep us honest.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
So,
I've gotten beaten up by Hi-Fi Sandy a couple times.
yeah. Yep. So, and then Iverson LV, he's actually a long time top coder. He's been a co-pilot. He's been a long time competitor. He's been a prototype reviewer. I mean, he's been all over the UI prototype track, and is a phenomenal has a phenomenal eye for detail. So I love working with him. And this year he actually really hunkered down and wanted to make it to the finals. And so he made it here last year and this year. So.
Great.
And then Leo Anath, he is also, I believe his brother's here with him, and also a longtime competitor, a longtime reliable UI prototyper. Definitely seen him grow over the years, where when we first started doing the HTML, CSS, his skill wasn't there, and now he's doing a great job, and he's very reliable, and definitely all of these UI prototypers, they really get into the detail. So the key thing about this is it's just not about developing the front end, it's also optimizing the graphics, right? It's optimizing it for the browser, making sure you're not using excessive code, right? Making sure the CSS is clean and can be interpreted by the next developer down the line. So
Awesome. Any who's this? HNY.
Yeah,
It's
I was going to ask that. I
first
don't know
time-
HN1. I don't know Radioactive Coder. I know everybody else on the list pretty well, but
I'm with
Are
you
they
guys.
new?
I just
Oh,
met him. Yep. So
interesting.
HNY, I just met him, and Radioactive Coder. I need to spend some time and get to know him a little bit more. But yeah,
representing the United States.
I know,
I
right?
don't know if is it the only member representing the U.S.?
We have a couple co-pilots and a couple people who've won trips for I think the cognitive community. But yeah, as far as
Competitors.
competitors, I believe it's
Interesting.
HNY. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we will see
and
where-
I'm not great with his handle.
Oh, Vasilika.
Yeah, so he's been a rock star actually the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Like just really, I'm not really sure. He kind of came out of nowhere and just started winning challenges and has a great. I mean, we can all get geeky at times about code. He has a great level of detail and quality with the code that he puts together. So
Awesome.
let's see them. Let's see them in action over there. They're on the left stage.
yep.
How many we got in total?
I think it was at 9,
9.
10, maybe 10. I should know this, right?
Yeah, about 10.
Yeah, so we have to. Did you? I'm sorry, I stepped away for a second. Did you talk about what the? Ask
That's
is?
what we
haven't
were
even
about to
talked
do.
about
Yeah,
it, yeah.
so we're gonna get right into it right now. So what are they working on this time around?
So this year, we've had a project, a pet project, I think, of all of ours at Topcoder for a long time, and especially of our CEO, Mike Morris, that we call Project Corona. And what it is
nice.
is, see,
Yeah, I know. I recognize.
And so we've been designing this, talking about it, and it's just one of those things where everyone wants to get it done, but we obviously want to focus on customer projects, and we have it's a pet project, right? And so we've taken what it is. It's a design. It's of actually. You want to pull up someone's thing, and we can.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
there it is.
But it is the. It's a globe,
Okay.
and what it is, it's going to show Topcoder activity, Topcoder member activity. So it's going to show all the amazing things that are happening in the Topcoder universe, like people logging in, people posting the forums, people submitting. Are you submitting to a design challenge, a data science challenge, a development challenge? So really kind of getting into what's really kind of, we have 1.3 million members. Like, what are they doing at Top Coder? So
Yeah, where are they? What's
yeah,
the
where are
actions?
they?
Yep.
Yep. So the idea is like, hey, if we're running a design challenge, we see all these pings in Indonesia. We're running a development challenge, right? We're seeing pings other places of the world. But the idea that this is something visual, a visualizer of all the activity happening in Top Coder. So
Interesting.
this way,
Something.
here at TCO, we'll pull it up and we see all the activity happening in Dallas, right?
Yeah, yeah, and you can actually, I believe, the way it's built, you'll be able to replay, so you could see a challenge and where people registered, and then
All right, let's see where Mooly G is at.
Yeah, I'm also surprised that they're not using any kind of CSS frameworks.
Yeah, I always find that interesting because we get that asked a lot in the challenges.
Yeah.
But then you'll see a lot of them just code it raw, or they'll use like just something. You saw someone was on a website where it was like, oh, I'm putting a snippet in and just create a little thing.
Yeah.
I'll see them do that too. But yeah, it's interesting because CSS frameworks were obviously really, really big a couple years ago,
Yep.
right? I think it's almost kind of died down in the idea of like the conversation around it. I still think it's all developers use them. It's happening, but it isn't like the topic.
You tend to get a lot of help from Webpack when you use something like Angular or React, and you tend to break the CSS down into components, so you don't have that long list and stuff like that. It used to be like CSS was everywhere. And
Yes.
the variables really helped and all that stuff, but it's really down to preference using less or SCSS or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like we have a lot of questions in the forums. Look at that.
Poor
Daddy's
Is that a good thing? He's busy?
Yeah, he's a rock star.
Awesome. Nick, why don't you go to the camera?
Sure
Go to the
thing.
camera and check out and see if anybody's sweating over there. Nope, didn't move.
Didn't move.
It's like watching esports, where,
Yeah, right.
who clicks faster? Yeah.
Definitely be a great. I'm excited to see the outcome of this. Right. We definitely want to make some progress on this project. Love to be able to. Hopefully next year we'll be able to actually have at TCO the ability to see up on the big screen all the activity.
Yeah.
Now, theoretically, everyone, let's say, completes it, gets it done. How do you score it at that point? I know there's no room for like creativeness, right, in a match like this.
Yeah, so that's the one thing when we moved it from design to development, we really did kind of take out the creative, subjective nature of it. It truly is, here's the design, execute the design.
Okay.
And our requirements tend to be very specific around that. Like, we really want these colors, and that's why we put it in Zeppelin, right? So the key thing here is the quality of the code. Right, so this is going to go back is where we have our UI prototype reviewers. They're going to review
Reviewing
the
code,
code
that's where-
against the scorecard, and did they kind of hack through and just make some stuff and it looks good, or did they actually do some quality code and make sure? So, and we want to make sure we're delivering to our customers high quality code, and that's the goal here. We don't want to just hack it together. And this is where the issue is that when you get into their different browsers, like now we're just focused on Chrome, but then you end up having kind of all these workarounds for specific browsers, and we want to make sure that even that's organized properly. And then making sure if we're using CSS processors or like we want to make sure it's easy for the next person to edit. So
Good, and I'm sure that's what companies look for too, because they might have their own development team as well. They just might need some quick work done, but quality.
Yep.
And that's what we provide.
They may need some unicorns, right? So they may need some
Need some unicorns.
may need some developers who have a design eye, and that's what I'm saying. Like they're looking to optimize the graphics also. While we're providing it that way, they're also looking to make sure they're using it properly. Not a ton of graphics, looking at the page load, that kind of stuff, right?
Sprite sheets.
Sprites,
Stuff like that.
yeah. So, and that's not every developer, is interested in that, right?
Yeah.
They want to be, they're focused in the technologies they want to focus in on, right?
Yeah, but Nick, what you're talking about with clients, if they give us that kind of requirement specifically in development, we'll provide that back in the UI prototype so that the code matches, like even down to variable naming or class naming in this regard, like to match their format of their teams that they already use.
Yeah, that's a great
We can
point because one of the questions is always from a customer like, "There's no way this works, right?"
There's no way this will
There's no
snap
way.
in with my team, or I'll be able to read it.
There's no way because you're going to do something completely than my team, and then we'll look forever, and we're going to have to hack your thing to work with our thing,
Yeah.
and it's like no, like you give us those requirements. That's why we have scorecards. Like the scorecard says, and the spec says we need it this way. Here's the variables.
Or that's why you have linting, like
Right.
provide us the linting file so that the style matches, and
Right.
you can't submit if it doesn't pass.
Right, and if you don't do that, you won't win.
Right.
So do that. right? And that way we can hand it off to that team, and that they tend to be amazed, like, oh yeah, you did it the way we wanted it done. Like, oh, yeah, that's the goal here.
I can read this. It's not a black box.
Right.
That works for us. Love it. All right, well, I think that might wrap it up for this UI prototype
awesome.
show. We do have first to finish coming up in about 15 to 20 minutes. So stick around for that. Adam, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
And I'm
Sure.
sure we're going to be seeing either you or Trevor around.
You're back.
Yeah, I'm back.
And we'll keep him here for a little bit as well throughout the show. Maybe we'll have our third host.
Thanks.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
And with that, we will scroll around through some of the UI prototype screens so you can check that out for a little longer. And then we will cut out and come back within 10 minutes. So stick around.